Hello and welcome, everyone. I am Alexi. I'll be the chronicler for the game this evening. We are playing a game of Tales from the Low Cantrefs. Specifically, this session is Tales from the Low Cantrefs, The Path Unwinding, Session 3 of 4. This game is organized through the Gauntlet gaming community. Go ahead and check out gauntlet-rpg.com or follow at GauntletRPG on Twitter to learn about all of the cool games we have going up on the Gauntlet each and every month. Coming up at the end of February will be a Gauntlet Community Open Gaming, and signups for that will open at the beginning of February. So if you're interested in getting to play some exciting indie games with members of this community, you should definitely keep an eye on Gauntlet Community Open Gaming. I'm going to be running a couple games. I'll be running my game Back Again from the Broken Land, and I'll be running another Gauntlet published game, Hearts of Luned, and we're gonna stick that into a cool setting where there are dragons. So if any of that sounds appealing, or if pulp adventure or dealing with vampire conspiracies sounds appealing, there's lots of cool options happening at Gauntlet Community Open Gaming, and you should definitely check it out. All right, back to tonight's game, though. Tonight we are playing Tales from the Low Cantrefs. This is a Hearth Fantasy coming-of-age game. It is a game in development from Games from the Wild Wood, and we are excited to be playtesting it and having the chance to share these videos, including with the game's creator, Luke Jordan, so that they can see how their game plays, out in the wild. We are in session 3 of 4, so we're things are getting good. Our characters have learned a little about some of the dangers and troubles and mysteries of their village, and we'll hear a bit about that when we introduce the characters. But first, let's introduce ourselves as players. I'd love it if we could go around and just tell folks who we, the players, are. I can start us off. I'm Alexi, he, him, and you can follow all of my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games. So definitely check out Cloven Pine Games on Twitter and on itch.io to see the games that I'm working on or the games that I'm about to kickstart, for example. Definitely do that. Rosamund, if you would be so kind, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Rosamund Hodge. I write YA fantasy novels, and I have the cutest dog in the world, and you can see pictures of her, lots and lots of pictures, if you follow me on Twitter at Rosamund Hodge.
Excellent. A wonderful plug. Up next, Chris, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Chris Newton. I use he, him pronouns, and I basically hang out, play games, talk about nerd stuff. If you are really bored, you can follow me on Twitter at INARVAN. That's at Enervon.
Wonderful. Good to be playing with you again, Chris. Next up is David. David, tell us about yourself, please.
Hi, yeah, my name's David. I use he, him pronouns. I'm based over here in the UK, hence the rather dark and ominous window behind me there. I am on also on Twitter at Chap of Steel if you want to check me out there. But I did also just want to say I have had a chance to both play and run Back Again from the Broken Land. It's very good fun. I genuinely suggest checking it out, and I'm not just plugging because I'm hoping that things don't go too badly for my character tonight.
Thank you so much, David. If I recall correctly, when you played Back Again from Broken Land, you felt that developing the most tragic epilogue was the win condition. So I feel like I feel like you're not trying to make things not go badly for your character. No, I'm really glad you enjoyed Back Again from Broken Land, and I'm excited to share the game with more folks. Dan, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Dan Pusel. I'm a technical theater educator in North Texas. You can see some of my work on Instagram if you follow the AC Troop. I believe it is actually just AC Troop. It will often have students acting in front of it, but the lighting and the scenery behind them is all me.
Fantastic. Good to be playing with all of you. Let's turn to our characters and introduce them. So each of you will get a chance to introduce the character you are playing. Maybe I'll start off though by introducing the village. So we are playing in the village of Sindle. This is a village that's bordered by a crumbling ruin. It's up on the high moors. There's hillsides covered in heather. by a long lake and near a leaning tower. And we've seen some of these landmarks so far, including a memorable encounter by the leaning tower, and our characters are currently headed back to the shores of the long lake. The worship of the great tree, the yew as still as death, has been neglected in this town, and our protagonists are starting to become curious about why and what effects that has had. People in town meet and gossip when they're at work out in the fields or while using the laundry posts. Some of the festivals the town honors includes the Festival of the Long Night, when there's the burning of effigies of sorcerers and drinking. And this is coming up soon. The full moon closest to the winter solstice is fast approaching, and so the village is beginning to prepare for the festival. There's also singing songs of the ancestors as a daily tradition that everyone observes. Some attitudes that the village holds are always honor the words of your elders, outsiders can never truly be trusted, and asking for help is the act of a child. The nearest other village is 2 or 3 days' journey to the north, and the village's decisions are often made by the Council of Merchants that manages imports and exports in Sindle. Let's turn to our characters. So, Rosamund, if you would, tell us about your character first.
So, my character, Luned, is the Belle page of the playbook. She is 16 years old. She has a dead older sister, a rebellious younger sister, and a domineering mother. She has just found evidence that her dead sister may not be resting at peace. And in the current plot line, she helped stir up / organize the group of adults going out to save the search party that went after her and her friends when they were stuck out last night and got chased by a giant cat monster. And the search party hasn't come back yet. So that's bad.
Yeah, you did some public speaking, and I believe, literally the mob has torches and pitchforks, right? Because of course, you need something to see by, and pitchforks are agricultural implements that can be repurposed for fighting cat monsters. So we'll be picking up and seeing how that all goes. Wonderful. Anything else we should definitely know about Luned?
I don't think so.
All right. Then, Chris, will you tell us about your character next?
Sure. I'm playing Ruga. She uses the Blade playbook. She is growing like a weed with flinty eyes, a brash voice, and scarred hands. She works as a semi-apprentice to the blacksmith in the village. Semi because he had a apprentice that was already there, but that apprentice is kind of lackluster as far as his desire to become a blacksmith, and so I think the blacksmith Corin decided to take on an extra helper just in the interest of maybe hedging his bets. Ruga is kind of courageous, but also a little bit hard-headed. Tends to jump into trouble first without thinking things through, and is really, really terrible at asking for help.
That's right, and there she is with her red hair. And you have a spear that the tip of which is a family heirloom.
Yes, it is supposed to be magical. Nobody in the family can actually say what that magic is or what it's supposed to do, but the thing is still together after it's been in the family for at least decades, maybe more than that. Family legend, puts it back hundreds of years, but families will say lots of things like that. So
I'm sure they will. Last we saw, Ruga was pretty interested in rescuing the search party.
Yes, she. I think she had to break her own rule a little bit and ask her friends for help. Luned in particular, because Luned is so much better at talking to adults than Ruga is. Although Ruga did successfully butt heads with the blacksmith a little bit, she was not confident at all in her ability to persuade anybody else that that they needed to go out and help and find the search party, since there was this terrifying cat monster thing out there.
Yeah, so with Luned's help, you have rounded up this this whole group heading out. Like we said, I think we said about a dozen people. You know that on that initial search party is your mother.
Yes, that was a main motivator of getting the search party for the search party together.
Makes sense. Very good. Well, let's meet our next character. David, will you introduce Gwyn for us?
Yeah, certainly. So I'll be playing Gwyn or just Gwyn is fine. He is in the Door playbook, which is all about having access to spooky magic, particularly aligned with the Land of the Dead. He is like Ruga, 14 years old and growing like a weed. He has sort of a soft but musical voice, sad eyes, and a weak smile. He's very much the kind of the goth kid of the party. He has sort of usually messy dark hair, that kind of melancholy air to him. He wears his dead mother's cast off cloak, which is a bit too big for him, but fur lined and well made, and quite useful in the seasonably cold weather, I suppose.
There he is in his coat on the character keeper.
Indeed. So and last we saw of Gwyn, he had after returning with the others from the tower, and returning to his home, he had a feeling of recent death from somewhere outside the village, which he deduced was linked to this search party that had gone out. He snuck out of his home after having only just returned to go and find out who has died and what sort of become of them. But on the way, he met up with the others, and so has joined them on the wider search. At the minute, he's still been fairly secretive about everything really, but in particular the whole more sinister and magical aspects of what he's experienced, but that's probably going to come a little more to the fore this time, I imagine.
Yeah, he's been fairly on the down low about the whole conjurer thing, but it seems like Luned's younger sister Gwyn has a sense of what he can do. We kind of had a them staring back and forth at each other moment from the previous session, I believe. All right.
Yeah.
Dan, will you tell us about your character?
Barrow, who uses he, them pronouns, is in the Luned playbook, which means they have a sort of sense of the future. They're a little keen on knowing things that they might not know if they were normal folks. That's great, not awkward way to put that. Barrow is an awkward adolescent with a hushed voice, but steady hands. Let me see here. They go about in a shawl woven by their mother one winter, and carry a sachet of medicinal herbs, because he is trying to apprentice. He's trying to learn the trade of his grandfather, who is the sort of local naturalist, herbalist. And I think last we saw Barrow, he had just finished doing a reading of some tree runes, in which he received several cryptic visions, and he rushed to Gwynfor's family tavern, where this mob had assembled, I think in the hopes of I think in the hopes of staving off a tragedy that I think he thinks is a tragedy yet to come and not a tragedy that is already past. We will see if that is the case. And that is what I've got for Barrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you had asked what can I do to stop what's coming, and you had a vision of the beast attacking Ruga's mother, part of that initial search party. So yeah, we will pick up with these characters who've set out, with a dozen adults of the village heading towards. Well, Barrow, are you kind of guiding them towards the place by the side of the lake that you had seen in your vision?
I think so. I think he thinks he will know where he's going when he sees it.
Yeah. I think there's a point where the rock formations start to look familiar, and you're realizing, yeah, it must be right around here, because you'd seen the beast leap down from the rocks on Dirid, Ruga's mom. And Luned, you were the one whose words were able to kind of gather this crowd in the first place. Are you kind of encouraging and guiding them along the way? What's your attitude as the mission unfolds?
Yes, well, I'm actually kind of sticking next to Barrow because I do believe him about his vision thing, and I want to be able to help persuade people to listen to him if that's necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. Ruga, what's your approach to all this?
I think she is concerned, worried, but is hiding that as per her usual program, by stomping and glaring, and basically pushing her way in, up to the front of this search party for the search party. Maybe kind of getting in the way of some of the adults, but like making it her job to be as close to the front as she can without literally having to like knock people out of the way.
Right, and we've established your dad is part of the search party. Your the blacksmith Corin, your mentor of sorts, is part of this search party. So there's moments of these folks kind of like saying, Ruga, slow down, careful there, right? Just people focused on the same goal, but trying to keep you from breaking yourself in this process, right? Gwyn, as the search party seems to be closing in on the site that Barrow is guiding them towards, right? As Barrow's saying, I recognize that. I recognize the rocks right over there, right? Gwyn, you get the sense of a thin place, a place of, the barriers between life and death being thin, and there's almost something calling to you. I don't know, what does that feel or sound like to get the sense of something's calling to you from beyond the veil?
Yeah, I think it's that sort of almost like I'm imagining something a bit like that weird, like sort of sub-bass rumbling that sort of makes out words in it, a bit like kind of when you get those sort of weird EVP recordings on like ghost hunter shows, but yeah, just kind of in the sort of in the wind and just sort of vibrating through the earth.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're getting this sense, and what's more, you get a sense, and it's hard to tell like where this company is coming from, or like whether you should trust this, but you definitely get the sense that you could help by stepping into the mists of death. Gwyn, what do you do?
Oh yeah, I think that I think I am going to go and actually I think maybe for a moment Gwyn has sort of been has been kind of following along with the group, has kind of had a bit of that like 1,000-yard stare sort of going on as he's been sort of like trying to get a feel for what's going on in death. But I think for a moment he just like stops and stares, possibly even closes his eyes for a moment and just sort of stands in the snow, breathing heavily, sort of the steam like wreathing around him. And I think I would like to activate my doorkeeper move and take a moment to calmly focus on the presence of dead things. And I will ask, what is happening near here in death?
That's great. And this is a move where you don't have to make a roll, I think.
That's right.
Get to ask the question. Yeah. So spirits that are dead, right? They don't like being dead for the most part, right? All spirits hunger for the living, like winter longs for spring. But most spirits are fairly, scattered, right? Most spirits don't remember much of their life on Earth. It's the rare spirit indeed that kind of knows its name, can still think and act as a human being would. But those that do are not to be trifled with, and you have the sense of a spirit waiting nearby that has this solidity to it, right? A spirit that knows its name, a spirit that is acting in the world, and it occurs to you that this spirit might be acting through this beast. We'll just to like give us some like stuff on screen for that. You'll see like the mist of death for a moment, right? And you'll see like a robed figure holding a skull, right? And it's the skull of this beast, right? With its massive saber teeth, and that gives you the sense that there's a spirit kind of touching this beast and acting through it. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So I think Gwyn's eyes sort of snap open again, and there's possibly that sort of slight moment where it looks like where they sort of roll. It looks like they might have been rolled back a bit as well, but they just sort of come back in, and he says, "It's definitely near here. It's watching. It wants." It wants something.
And are you trying to get your peers' attention with this? Are you trying to talk to Luned or Barrow maybe with this?
Yeah, I think so. I think Gwyn himself is possibly not quite focused enough back on the real world again yet to make a conscious effort about that. But yes, that's definitely the intent I have there.
The monster is watching us now?
I think so. I can feel it. It has killed and it will kill again.
Luned, what do you do with that information?
I'm trying to decide. I actually say the first thing that comes into my head, which is, well, we already knew it was going to do that. Do you know, is there anything we can do to stop it?
I don't know. I think, I mean, if we can catch it or kill the beast, we should be able to stop whatever's making it do what it's doing.
Did you say kill the? Whoa, Gwynford, are you okay? You look pale, and do you need to sit down?
I'm fine. I think.
Okay, you look pale as ash. Sorry, I'll back out of this conversation now.
It's fine. But yes, we need to stop it. It's definitely not natural. It's not going to just move on to new hunting grounds.
Barrow, I want to check in real quick. Is it possible you're trying to take Gwyn's measure?
Oh, yeah, it could be. Let's take a look at that move.
Because I heard you asking, slightly probing questions about whether your peer is all right here, and there's a move that might be triggered by that.
Perfect. Sometimes we do moves accidentally, and that is great. When you take someone's measure, roll.
Yeah, when you take someone's measure, roll plus caution.
That sounds good, and that's, I believe, caution is one of Barrow's favorite things. Yeah. So,
looks like our rolling room is still operative. And there we go.
That is a 10, and I bet it's 2 on caution. Yes, it is. So that's a 12.
That's a 12. Very nice roll. So you can ask one question from below, and on a 10 plus, you can ask a follow-up question. So what do you want to know, Barrow?
I think the most the one that pokes out at me the most is, what burdens do they bear? What burdens for bear?
Yeah, so that's a question for you, Gwyn.
Sorry, lost the window there. Yeah. So I think I think you'll definitely get the Gwyn knows more than they're letting on, or that's probably the wrong way to put it. Gwyn doesn't know more than they're letting on, but the fact that they know anything is more than they should know, if that makes sense. And I think you definitely get that sense that, like, there's a you deal with, like, prophecy and stuff like that. There's a sort of a weight and a certainty to what he's saying that is, like, beyond just making supposition about what this creature might be doing.
I see what you're saying. I like that.
And Barrow, you get a follow-up question.
Yes.
And in my reading of the move, at least, it seems like it's pretty open to just whatever follow-up question is prompted right by the first answer, rather than being you have to pick from the list again.
Oh, I see. I am going to ask one from the list, and I think this. I'm not sure how to put a frame around this, but I think the question, what do they lack? What does Gwynford lack in this context, is interesting to me. I don't know if that is going to be interesting for you.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I think I can work with that. Gwyn lacks. Well, Gwyn definitely lacks confidence, but the specifically, you can tell that they. And this is, probably something, again, you've picked up on before. They are being, like, deliberately cagey. They're probably a little bit less reserved than they have been at the minute, because they do seem a bit out of it. But he is, Yeah, he lacks security. I guess you think he's not sure if it's safe for him to tell everything he knows.
Okay. I love it. All right.
Fantastic. Ruga, I'm gonna jump over to you for a moment. Chris, are you there? It looks like your video's frozen.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you're kind of frozen on my screen, but as long as we can hear each other, that works. Ruga, you were kind of up at the head of the pack, it sounded like.
Yeah. She's sort of stomping towards the head of the pack, but then I think the adults sort of like, muscle their way back to the front, and it sort of goes back and forth like that. Like she's egging them on and also being, overtaken, and she is, honestly kind of almost exhausted. Really, she hasn't gotten much sleep over the past couple of days, and she's still got 3 wear, so she's obviously struggling to do what she's doing, but she's too hard-headed to actually pull back and rest.
Yeah. Read me the sentence for 3 wear, actually.
It's not quite as bad as it was, but it's I limp on, weak and failing.
Okay, yeah. So that's kind of where you're at as far as what's going on for Ruga. Sure. As you limp on, weak and failing, but good. Right? You spot coming round a bend of the lake. A small group of people. You can make out your mother, Dirid, from her her red hair that matches yours. You see Barrow's dad, Seth. And he's kind of got slung over his shoulder another villager, someone you recognize as Ninian, who's not that much older than you guys, but old enough to be considered an adult who could go on this search party. Ninian looks bad, right? Clearly wounded, possibly dead. And Seth is completely kind of carrying / dragging him, and right around then, as you're taking in the search party that you all were looking for, you smell something, a little scent of that perfume. Ruga, what do you do?
I think it takes a second for it to register with her what that means. And I think she starts to, she gets this sort of look of, not quite panic, but it's close to that. And she starts basically, as she's running towards the, well, not really running at this point because she can't do that. But as she's quickly walking towards the search party, you see her start to spin around and start looking for something.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you giving a fraught situation your full attention?
Yes.
Or is there I guess I should check if there's a playbook move that you want to trigger.
Well, there is my playbook move. Since I am with my friends, I think I can. I think I'm in a space where I can probably trigger Guardian.
Yeah, that's fair. What do you want to ask?
Let's see. Which of us is the most vulnerable? Basically, where I guess that would effectively be where is this thing? Who is this thing closest to?
I mean, it's you, Ruga. You're limping on, tired of failing, and we've established the beast hates you in particular. You remember the hatred in its eyes from when you flung the perfume in its face, and so as you smell that perfume again, well, I think you can put 2 and 2 together and know that probably it will go for you if it can.
Okay, and I think she yells that It's here. The you damn thing is here.
Wow. Oh, the you damned thing. Not a tree that is invoked a lot.
That's what makes it such a great curse.
Yeah. The adults all like spin around. People asking like where, right? Corin's like holding up his axe. Others are waving their staves or their pitchforks. People are clearly searching for it, but in a somewhat chaotic fashion.
And I think she'll try to, as she's like spinning around, she will remember, which way is the wind blowing from? Because that's probably where it is. So I think she's trying to, she's feeling like she's feeling, I think, a little out of sorts, and is having to think about which way this stuff's coming from. So maybe this is give her full attention to something.
Yes, I totally buy that. Give your full attention to fraught situation. You'll see if you can get some good answers here.
Okay, I am terrible at this, so let's see how badly I do. Let's see. Oh, well, not as terribly as I could have been. That's a 9 -2 for my caution of -2 would make it a 7.
Hey. Well, that worked out better than it could have. You get to ask 2 questions from the give your attention list.
Okay. Let's see. I think question number 1 is how can I help get the search party with that obviously injured person to safety?
A really good question. Do you know what your second question is already?
I think the follow-up is going to be, and in the process of doing that, how would I protect myself? Since I am apparently the big draw, maybe I can draw it off, but where would be a relatively safe place for me to draw it off to?
Ooh. This is good. I think it's pretty clear that the search party with the one member down is not going to be able to move fast. So best chance is to turtle up, right? Like get everyone armed to like surround them, right, and create a barrier around them to protect yourself. If indeed drawing off the creature is sort of is something you're committed to. You remember smaller cats in the village and their aversion to water, right? There's a lake right here. I think like Ruga has like a galaxy brain moment of to escape from the beast, I'd have to go in the lake. Does that work for you as answers?
I think so, and I think basically she takes those ideas to heart, and as hopefully the rest of the party is trying to get the search party, back together with everyone else, she starts moving, limping down towards the lakeshore.
Cool. Are you kind of giving any explanation of what you're doing to the adults or to your peers?
Not really to the adults, no. Because I can't really open up to them. What would they think?
Okay.
And I think as she's sort of moving past, it looked like Luned, Barrow, and Gwyn were all sort of were sort of talking in hushed voices, kind of
I think
not quite a huddle, but close together. And I think as she moves past, Ruga says, "I smelled that perfume. I think it's close. I'm going to try to draw it down to the lake." while they get the search party, while they get the search party back into the fold here. And if it comes after me, hopefully, I can avoid it by going in the water, because cats hate water, right?
Luned, what do you say about this?
Right?
Little tiny village cats hate water. You don't know what this thing likes, except bloods.
And I think she thinks about that for a second, and but as she's like moving towards the lake, she says, "Well, if any of you have better ideas, maybe you can come up with one." She very slowly, because she obviously can't move that quickly right now, is sort of moving down towards the lake. I don't imagine that's too far away.
Semi-winded, leaning on your spear. You're making your way down towards the lake.
Yes. I'm gonna grab her.
Oh, excellent. Just trying to like physically stop her, or just to or just continuing to talk sense? Okay.
Well, I'm trying to physically stop her, and as I'm doing that, I'm saying, "Look at all the large men with weapons. We should get everyone in a circle, and they can kill the beasts." Besides, then the beast will come for you, and they can kill it, instead of going into the water, and then we have to leave everyone undefended to go after the beast and try to kill it, so it doesn't kill anyone else later.
Okay, I'm checking here. Is it possible that that helpful is triggering again?
Probably yes. I did not ask her if she wanted advice.
You can kind of do that out of character, even.
Okay.
Ruga, do you want advice?
I think.
You can say no. Sure. There's a mechanic for that.
Yeah, I don't think she really wants it at this point. I think she's gotten an idea in her head, and she's basically, whereas before she was tired enough to ask for advice, now she's tired and angry enough, and maybe also scared, but she's never going to admit that. That it's going to be harder to get her to listen to things.
Okay, so it says here, for helpful, on a miss, or if your advice was unwanted, you are intrusive, ignorant, or hurtful. They choose walk away from the conversation or mark where. Luned, how do you go too far? I guess, if we want to drive this home here.
I keep going. Look at you. You're limping. You can hardly walk. How are you going to swim? You certainly can't wrestle that creature. You're going to die if you go down there. Stop being stupid.
Ruga, it's you get to choose. Walk away from the conversation or mark where.
Oh, I think she stomps away angrily. She's that sort of apprentice blacksmith muscle that she's managed to accumulate just sort of comes to the fore for just long enough for her to yank her arm away, and she stomps away and says, "I'm at least I'm doing something." Stomp, stomp.
Okay. Barrow, Gwyn, reactions to this?
I think Gwyn is going to follow Ruga.
Oh, okay, yeah. Tell me about that.
Actually, I'm just thinking. The wounded person that's being carried, wounded / dead.
Gwyn, you suspect he's dead.
Yeah.
You think the adults might not know it yet? They might be holding on to hope, but you have a connection to death. You think that that Ninian is dead.
I'm just wondering if I want to try and bring back his spirit. I don't know if that's possible, but
you're the door.
I know.
You can find out if it's possible.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Both are good though. No, I think I am going to. I think I am going to. I want to do both. No, I'm going to. I am going to. I think I am going to attempt to retrieve Ninian's spirit. So I think kind of what it looks like is Gwyn reaches into sort of the collar of his shirt and wraps his hand around a sort of iron key that's hanging from there. He holds it in his hand, and then from the outside, it probably just looks like he has a seizure or something. Just goes completely stiff and drops face forward into the snow. And I'm going to roll to see how it goes.
All right. Walker in mist. When you open the path into death, your body goes still and helpless, rigid as a statue, as your spirit steps into death. Roll plus resolve. On any hit, your nerve holds, and you keep your bearings amidst the seething mists of the moors of death. On a 10+ hit, you have found a quiet stretch of the moor, and none of the dead are waiting. On a 7 through 9 hit, keep your key close to hand and do not tarry. On a miss, you arrive somewhere unfamiliar and find yourself lost deep in death. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, that is a 12. So yeah,
wow.
As good as entering the realm of death can go.
So yeah, so like from the perspective of your peers, you've just dropped, right? But from your perspective, you've just stepped through into the bleak gray moor under a starless sky that is the misty realm of death, and you stepped with confidence. Like, can you? I guess how can you tell that you are you are in like a relatively safe part of the moor as you start to get your bearings?
Yeah, so I think it's that thing of it's like it's cold, I think, in the land of the dead, but it's not as cold as it is in the real world at the moment. It's that kind of much more that sort of cold sort of autumn morning misty thing, rather than like being under a couple of feet of snow. So it's actually comparatively warm from what we've just come from. And I think here it's the landscape is much like it is in the real world. There's like kind of grey rolling moors, and I think there is kind of a pervasive mist around, but at the moment it's fairly clear. It's fairly thin mist, so you can still see a bit of a distance. The acoustics are all weird. There's that cotton wool sound of as his footsteps on the moor, and the breeze is probably a bit weird. It doesn't feel like it's coming from like any one direction. But yeah, I think the mist isn't too heavy here, so you can see for a little ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And with that visibility, you can see that there's just a few scattered landmarks, right? Glimpsable through the mist. You can see what looks like a yew tree growing here amidst the mists of death, and there's a figure sitting underneath the yew tree, looking away from you, but there's clearly someone there. You can see just a patch of stones and a, a figure lying among the stones and kind of like writhing a little bit. Like they look to be in distress. And then a little ways away, there is it's like a a ring of sharpened stakes, but somehow even at this distance you can spot that the stakes are bones that have been kind of driven into the ground, creating this little circle. And there's someone standing tall, again looking away from you, but in the midst of this ring of bones. Gwyn, what do you do?
I think Gwyn is going to approach the writhing figure and see what can be done for them.
Absolutely. Let's take a little break, and when we come back, we'll see what becomes of all these characters, and in the realm of the living and the realm of the dead. Let's do 10 minutes or so. Be back at 13 past.
Okay.
All right. See you all soon. Hey, welcome back. How's everybody doing?
Great.
All right. Ready to get back into it. So we're gonna go to Luned and Barrow. Ruga has just gone stomping off. Gwyn has just gone stock still and fallen to the snow. What do you do, Barrow? Let me check with you first.
I think Barrow. I think Barrow had been close to Gwynfor. Was sort of in the midst of like trying to take Gwynfor's measure, and Gwynfor goes pale, eyes roll back in his head, and collapses. And I think Barrow says, "Oak," and goes to his knees to try and turn his friend over, try and resolve this situation, but also remembering that vision. Did you say that Barrow's dad is carrying the wounded? Okay,
that's correct.
Okay, he is going to, and we are like within shouting distance of these folks.
Yeah, I think yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Kind of you guys were huddled, and Ruga came over to you, but the other adults are kind of heading towards, like, the search party and the group that you brought are kind of converging around now.
Okay. I think Barrow says, Dad, everyone needs to have their pitchforks ready. Everybody needs to have their pitchforks ready. Keep an eye on that hill. It's nearby. It's going to try to hurt Mrs. Deerid because it likes the color. It doesn't like the color of her hair. You have to stop it, okay? Or maybe not you because you're busy, but somebody has to stop it, okay?
So yeah. So when I said within shouting distance, you are shouting this over to your dad. It sounds like.
Yes. Maybe it's not as verbose if I'm shouting all of that like full throat, but along those lines.
Barrow, what are you saying, son?
Dad, protect Mrs. Deerid.
Okay. When you seek concrete help from an adult, say what you want from them and roll plus honesty.
Oh, cool. Honesty. That's a good one. I want my dad to to trust me and get folks to liven up and be at the ready. That is Barrow's goal. And roll plus honesty.
Yeah. Unless you want to turn to your peers for help.
It looks like my peers are pretty preoccupied. I think I'm gonna
go for it.
Risk
Yeah,
this
seek adult help with your -1 honesty.
So bad. That is a 2 altogether. That's a failure.
Oh. So they're trying to listen to, right? But the wind is picking up a little bit, right? And you're struggling and straining against it, and that smell, the perfume that you gave to Ruga, as a weapon against the creature. You smell that, and for a moment you think the beast is coming for you, right? As you see it leaping down from the rock formation, but it ignores you entirely and barrels towards Ruga, who is, of course, limped off on her own, moving towards the lake. Barrow, I want to ask you to just to mark where, just from the stress of the situation. Does that seem fair?
That seems more than fair.
And Luned, given everything going on, I'm interested in what do you do?
So can I go maybe 2 or 3 minutes back in time with my answer?
To see what Luned has been doing.
Left off. Yeah. So I actually don't see Gwyn for fall over because I've been staring after Ruga. I'm completely furious at her and also furious at myself because the comment about actually doing something is getting at how I know I spent most of my time just trying to mediate between people. And so I start stomping after her on both, I think, kind of hoping that if I'm standing there next to her, she'll realize how dumb this idea is. And also, if she doesn't and the beast comes for us, maybe I can help distract it, since I'm not staggering as badly as she is. I feel like I could probably use her spear better at this point, just because she's so injured. So I start marching down to the beach after Ruga, grumbling under my breath.
That's great. Yeah. So Ruga's off to make her stand, and winded, leaning on her spear, and turns and sees Luned just stomping right up after her. Do you say anything to her, or it's just your presence that conveys the message?
I stare her in the eye and say, "Fine, we're both going to die together."
And of course, there's only one way for Ruga to respond to that, which is a similarly angry "Fine."
And you hear, suddenly bearing down on you, just the roar of the beast. And I don't know, Ruga, do you have your wits about you to react? What do you think? This creature, eyes glaring with hatred, teeth as long as your forearm. It's went bounding right past your other friends and is headed towards the two of you standing on the edge of this lake.
Wits are not something that Ruga generally has. That's not her strong suit. But what she does have is a stupid impulse to protect her friend. So I think what she immediately does is shoves Luned down and moves past and moves away from her.
When you put your body between someone in immediate danger?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to roll bodyguard. This is a roll plus courage as you try to intercept the danger.
Okay, let's see how badly this goes. Although courage is one of my good stats, so it could go well. Oh, a 9.
Okay. On any hit, your body is their shield, and you will suffer the consequences of the danger in their place. And that's a 9?
Yes.
Okay. So you are not in time to act against the danger rather than just taking the hit, which suggests that what happens is, Luned goes sprawling, and the beast, essentially flies right over her and tackles you, Ruga. And here's the thing: the beast is a terror, right? It's
bad news.
You're
really bad.
Yeah, you're going to let's take a look. If we look at harm, when you are wounded by a terror, make your peace. You are badly wounded, helpless, likely dying. So give me a little sense here, right? Of how you take the blow such that you're put in this extremely precarious position.
Oh, I think that I think the way you described it, it's kind of how it worked out. Basically, this thing hits Ruga square, and the only upside for Ruga at all is that it thought that Luned was still in the way, so it was charging to basically knock somebody out of the way, and then pounce. But the other person it was barreling towards to knock out of the way is no longer in the way, so it kind of scuttles to try and reposition so it can do what it wanted to do originally, which was just attack Ruga. And I think because of that, basically she takes a solid impact, but it isn't immediately like ripping her to shreds.
Got it. Yeah.
About to, but it doesn't immediately rip her to shreds. She's just now, she's basically now has the wind knocked out of her, and she is sprawled on the ground, maybe underneath it, maybe just to the side of it, depending on how things work out.
I think underneath it, right? We've established this is bad news. This moment, So you've shoved Luned down, and then the beast hits you. You go sprawling, and it is above you, right? Teeth bared. Let's cut to the mists of death. Gwyn, you were approaching the writhing figure in kind of the stony patch of the moor. You get close enough to recognize. I'm kind of picturing that the spirits here, they look similar to themselves as humans, but a little misty, a little fragmented, right? Like they're not fully pulled together. So we'll say you recognize Ninian after a moment or two, but he's clearly at any given moment, half of him is kind of dispersing into mist, right? And half of him is reforming. He's not stable. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds good. And I think in the mists as well, I think Gwyn has a bit of that look about him too. Not quite to the same extent, but I think he's definitely got that kind of slightly, again, misty, translucent thing going on.
Okay. Right, because he's left his body behind in the real world.
Yeah, exactly. So could you just remind me who Ninian was again in the village? Is he
got a cameo for a moment here? I think Ninian was someone a little older than the four of you, right? Someone who's considered an adult enough to do something like this search party, probably otherwise, a jack of all trades, figuring out exactly what profession he wants to pursue, but generally liked and competent at most things. That's my thought here.
Cool. And so I think Gwyn is going to sort of kneel down beside and reach out for his hand and say, Ninian, it's Gwynfor, Rodri's son. I came here to find you.
Gwyn for here. Where's here? What's happening?
You were attacked, and this is the Grey Moor, the place beyond. I don't know if I can take you back with me. I can try, but you looked very badly hurt.
There was a monster sprung on us. I tried. I think I saved Dirid. It was coming right for her, but did it kill me?
Yes, it did, or close to. But I don't think I can take you back. I can try if you want, but I don't. I think that this is the end for you, or the end of what you had, anyway.
Are you opening up and offering someone comfort?
Yeah, I think that sounds
Sort
good.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's roll plus honesty as you have a a human connection moment with this this poor departed spirit.
Awesome. Oh, that's actually a success, which I wasn't expecting. So that is an 8. So
Yeah. Okay. Cool. On any hit, there is solace in your closeness. You share strength with one another and both unmark one wear. So, I think you can tell me a little bit about what it looks like as you're kind of somehow your presence is able to be a blessing to this this spirit that departed from life in violence and confusion.
yeah, and I think just like the voice and the contact between them is enough to just kind of still Ninian's struggling, and I think he sort of takes on a sort of he stops like trying to hold on and sort of becomes more relaxed, more peaceful, I suppose is probably a better way of putting it. And I think Gwyn for say, is there a message you want me to take back?
And he kind of he breathes a couple times, and his form becomes like slightly more distinct, right? Like he's kind of like gathering himself, pulling himself together out of the mist, and we'll just say, he says, tell Marin that I loved her. It's just the name of someone else, of around your age in the village, right? And he says, and that I died doing something good.
You did. And Gwynfor pauses for a moment and says, the creature that did this to you, I think its spirit or the spirit inhabiting it is around here somewhere. As long as it maintains control over the beast, it will keep hunting the people of the village. Will you help me try and stop it? I don't know exactly how, but
he nods. He kind of it's like he stands up, but it's more like he surges up, right? Like kind of like the mist rises in a column and then like he forms again, and he says, I'll try to help you, young Gwynfor. We'll take a look and teach the dead not to mess with Sindle.
Good, thank you. I think Gwyn will go to kind of like pat him on the arm or something. It's probably a bit awkward as they kind of flow through each other a bit, but yeah, it's
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you set off in a particular direction?
Yeah, I think I'm going to head towards the big Bonehenge, I guess, because
Yeah, the Bonehenge.
that's
Absolutely.
the creepiest thing around here. So that's
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll just we'll say your walk, and like it's distances are a little hard to judge in the land of the dead, right? Like you set off walking in what you thought was the direction. For a moment, you worry, maybe I'm lost in the mist, and then the mist starts to part, and you see these these bones driven into the ground, and the figure in the midst of them turns, and it's the figure you caught a glimpse of when you'd had a kind of a peek behind the veil, right? A robed figure clutching this beast skull, and like as they turn, you see they're wearing a crown, and a voice comes saying, "Ah, a conjurer. Now this is interesting." And let's cut back to the land of the living. Luned, you were shoved to the ground as the beast leapt over you and landed on Ruga. From what you can tell, Ruga is hurt badly, and the creature is still still right above her. I wonder, what do you do?
Can I resort to violence?
You certainly can. I'm interested in what that looks like. Do you have a weapon of any sort?
No, I'm going to grab its tail.
And like just try to drag it off? Oh,
yeah.
Ruga, I assumed, Ruga, you still had your spear, but you think you dropped it?
Well, I mean, if it's on top of me, I mean, the spear could be laying there close, depending on how we want to do that.
Luned, up to you. Do you want to say, yeah, I try to pick up Ruga's spear, or do you want to be like, no, I'm just grabbing the beast by the tail?
I think I will go for the tail because, like, in my mind, I think, it's going to, like, bite her throat out, like, in the next moment. And so I'm not really thinking about, like, trying to defeat it so much as, like, distract it for a second, and maybe, somebody can get her, or maybe Ruga can get up or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and resort to violence. That's a roll plus resolve.
And now I have to find my dice. They were just here. Okay. Here goes. Okay, that is a natural 8. And then...
And your resolve is 2.
Okay.
So when you resort to violence, choose one you hope to accomplish. It sounded like it was something like drive them off, to the extent of get it off of Ruga, keep Ruga's space. Yeah. Roll plus resolve. Yeah, no matter what, it's unpleasant and intense. I bet it is. So you're gonna roll plus wear, right? The creature will probably like jerk its tail, right, and like pull you round, and like you catch like a kick from its like hind leg or something, right? But on a 10 plus, you'll get what you hoped for. So mark wear, but like you've bothered it. It's off of Ruga. It's like kind of like moving around like a cat whose tail has been pulled, right? Like it is quite annoyed and unhappy, and sort of like now like kind of pacing in a little circle on the beach. Are you like trying to stay behind it to stay out of range of those murderous front teeth, or what?
Yeah, can I still be trying to hold on to the tail?
Okay, so basically you've yanked the tail, and now you're just like holding on to the tail for for all you're worth.
Right, because I figure that makes it harder for it to get at me.
I buy it. Absolutely.
And so I think I'm still kind of on my feet, since I only have 2 wear, but I'm kind of like staggering around trying to keep up with this, sometimes slipping and sliding, trying to like keep moving with this creature while also keeping it distracted.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what's going on. When this is going on, Barrow, you were up, kind of near where Gwyn had fallen. You'd been trying to yell to the adults with limited success. I think you see Ruga's mom, Dirid, like making a break from the other adults and like running towards, running, like she's going to run past you towards the beach, right, where she can see Ruga's in trouble. What do you do, Barrow? Like she's not like pausing to talk to you, but she's running right by you.
That seems totally appropriate. Yeah, I think everything seems in order here.
I was only wondering because you had a premonition of the beast attacking and possibly killing Dirid, so I didn't know if that would make you want to interfere.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, just flagging that.
That is true. Boy, things did not line up quite like that premonition, though. That may have thrown me off a little bit.
The situation on the ground has changed. You introduced a dozen new people into the scene.
Yeah, that's the problem with prophecy. Does she have like a spear or something? Is she armed?
She's got like a sickle. Right, like something that's more like meant for like cutting through, dense foliage, but like it's got a cutting edge on it.
Okay. Oh yeah, I don't have a lot for this situation. I think, let's see here. Okay, we're gonna try this. I think Barrow is gonna say, Mrs. Dirid, just a second, hang on, and just reach in the bag. There's something in the bag. There's got to be something in the bag that helps in this situation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well prepared. Switch supplies for something sorely needed. Say what it is and roll plus learning. Give me a sense of what you think could help here.
Oh boy, there's not a lot of super helpful stuff on the list. I'm gonna say, I gotta say, a pot of tar sounds potentially helpful in this situation.
Sticky and flammable.
Yep. So we will see.
All right, make a roll plus learning.
Oh, hang on just a second. I've accidentally. Oh, great. I found out how to delete a die from the row. Okay. That is 6. So 8. I believe. Let me double check my learning.
Yeah, I think learning's +2.
Okay.
On a hit, there it is. And you always knew. No, sorry. That's a 10+ hit. A 7 through 9 hit. You have it, but choose one. So you're gonna pick one of these, drawbacks or kind of things that qualify the success, I suppose.
Let's see here. That is it. I don't see how it would be costly. I don't. And it would be kind of bizarre for it to just be somewhere else. So it would want to be on my person. So I think it's not quite what I'd hoped for, but it will work in a pinch.
So not quite a jar, a pot of sticky flammable tar. Is it something else that's flammable, or or what are we? What do you think Barrow is able to search up there?
Let's see here. I think I'm going to go for the sticky part instead of the flammable part. I think it may, I think it may be a pot of honey, local organic honey, in a clay pot. He says here, take this.
She like looks at you. She takes the honey. She's like, Barrow, son, what is this for?
Don't worry, you've got work to do. So do I.
She accepts that as an explanation and rushes down towards the lakeside. Barrow, was there something else? Was there something you were trying to do next?
I think try to bring Gwyn back to the land of the living. I think maybe he has his sachet of medicinal herbs out and is trying to use them as smelling salts. Maybe lightly tapping his cheek, all to no avail.
Oh, got it. So you're trying to you're working on Gwyn. I like it. And we'll cut back to that and see if we turn that into a role in some way, but we'll check on other things first. Ruga, you got hit by this creature. You can feel that you're not doing well, right? Like you know whether or not you admit it to yourself, you can tell the creature has injured you badly. But you do hear the sound of its frustrated roars as it's essentially trying to chase its own tail with Luned hanging onto it. And maybe you dimly glimpse your mom running down down kind of the slope towards this beach area, this lakeside. She's got a sickle and a pot of honey for some reason. Ruga, what did you do? Noting your injured state.
I think so. I don't think me getting up and doing much is going to work. I'm figuring she's at least got a couple of broken ribs from the impact. Maybe something more serious.
You're in a bad way.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that basically since Luned didn't go to grab the spear, I think as Ruga's hand is sort of flailing on the ground to try and get Purchase to sort of at least try to get up a little, maybe sit up, maybe roll over something, her hand hits the spear. And I think what she's going to try to do is see if she can brace it. So if the cat thing comes back toward her, like maybe she can maybe if it leaps at her again or something, it will be braced for to try and at least do something to it before it tears it to pieces. Nice.
So trying to brace the spear such that the cat would hurt itself on it. This spear is magical, though we don't know what the magic does.
Ooh, that is.
Right? Like we've talked about how the spearhead has an old magic in it.
Oh, let me think. So
I'm wondering if you want to call on superstition here.
I think I might.
And then we can kind of if this goes well enough, we can define a little bit of what the magic of the spear does.
Well, let's try that. I'm not the best at calling on superstition, but I'm not absolutely terrible at it, like I am asking for regular people for help.
Like it seems like our aim is something like protecting yourself, right? Via the magic of the spear, yes.
Or in keeping with her, basically. I mean, she's also now worried about Luned, who is holding this giant cat bear monster thing by its tail, as best she can tell.
Yeah.
So maybe she's also thinking about trying to help Luned. She doesn't really know how, but so maybe some of that. Maybe maybe she could toss the spear to Luned or toss the spear at the cat to distract it. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm up for anything, but I liked the image of racing spear, right? Like that definitely felt cool. I think you could roll call on superstition into any kind of like physical choice here about the spear. That's my interpretation.
Okay. Okay. See, I think superstition is plus learning, which I think for me is 0. Let me double check. Yes. Okay.
Flat roll.
It's an 11.
Woo! On a 10+ hit. Whoever taught you this was telling the truth after all. It works as they said, but choose just one. So you choose one option here from the call of superstition, but it's going to work, right? And it sounds like if okay. Yeah, no, this is super exciting. Let's first just like confirm what does it mean for Ruga that this works, that calling on the old magic in the spear works for her?
I think in this sort of haze that she's in from the injury, so the shock from that, from seeing her friend try and wrestle this cat thing away from her by grabbing its tail, like all of that stuff is just sort of melding together. And of course, like she's probably bleeding from various scratches, abrasions, maybe something worse. And I think she like reaches over to one of her wounds and she's remembering this story that her family sometimes tells about the spear, that if the blood of the family touches the spear, that its powers are awakened. And I think
putting your own blood onto the spear.
She reaches that bloody hand up and like grabs the spearhead. Maybe grabs it a little bit too hard because she's also struggling to sort of sit up, and so there's a little bit of fresh blood on there too, not just from her wound but also from her hand as it's cut as she grabs the spearhead a little bit too hard.
Are you taking it exact a price?
I am.
Okay, so you're marking a penultimate wear, which certainly tracks with your overall state. I think.
Yes.
I think as you do that, as you like grip the spearhead, we see like not only is there new blood flowing from your hand, but we see like a little bit like it's like blood is being like suctioned out of the cut on your hand, and it's flowing like specifically into the old runes carved into the spear. But yeah, that was a full hit. Are you tossing the spear? Are you racing the spear? What's the play here?
I think she's throwing the spear with like that last little vestige of strength she has before the final exhaustion. She's going to throw that spear at this cat thing.
Throw the spear at the cat. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see how that works.
Yeah. I think it's too good, right? Like you've called on superstition already. So the only question in my mind is how the honey helps, right? And I'm thinking like maybe it's that like your mom charging the cat just like throws the honey at it, and it's like utterly confused for a moment, right? As the pot shatters, like it rears back, like it's worried it's going to be that terrible perfume again, and then like instead it's like covered in honey, and it like is like just like cocks its head and like licks the honey for a moment, just like oh yeah.
And if it's anything like a cat, like sticky is like the worst. Like there is no cat that likes being sticky. So like I would imagine just the feel of that is so upsetting to the poor thing. Like, it's gone from this horrible stench that it can't get rid of to now its fur is like sticky and sweet smelling. Oh,
Yeah.
I think the poor monster is just completely out of sorts.
Yeah. So it's like it's pawing at its own face when you throw the spear, and like it's like the spear is throwing itself, right? Like it's like you've given it this blood, and then like it flies with more strength and accuracy than like it realistically you have at this point, right?
Yeah,
And
it's more like me letting it go than throwing it, maybe. Like maybe that's almost what it looks like.
The spear flies true, pierces through the flank of the cat. The cat, lets out a terrible screaming roar, right? But the spear goes all the way through it and like sticks in the ground, and it is caught, right? And like adults are now like rushing down the hill, Corin in the lead with his big axe, and they're ready to end this beast, I think. I'm gonna cut back to the realm of death. Gwyn, you have approached this bonehenge, and the figure within turned and identified you as a conjurer. You have a ghostly companion with you, right? You've got Ninian's spirit at your side. What do you do?
I think I call out. I don't know who you are or what you're doing here, but why are you trying to hurt us? What have we done to you?
Done? I am Lord Rark, once and future ruler of these lands. You are all my subjects. I am merely trying to return to you.
We don't need you then. What you've done is brought harm and suffering to us.
Are you standing fast against your fear, or an adult?
I think I am, or at least attempting is probably the more likely outcome here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this ancient king of the dead definitely counts as an adult. So go ahead and roll plus courage.
That is a total of 4.
On a miss, your traitor heart pounds like panicked thunder in your ears. Choose what you lose and be prepared for the worst.
I think. Yeah, I think I lose Ninian here. I think that I lose their support as they are driven on to somewhere else, or something else happens to them. But yeah, I think it's just me and his lordship.
Yeah, and I think Rark like does this very like deliberately to demonstrate his power. He holds up a hand, snaps his fingers. Some of the mist making up Ninian just kind of like streams away and like coalesces around Rark, and like Ninian says to you goodbye as he fades away. But like it seems like his memories, his identity, right? That's moved on, but like his like life force, Rark has just taken for his own, right? To, like he's collecting it. And Rark says, "This beast is but a blunt instrument. I have only so many ways of interacting with the world through it. But I see," you can tell he's talking about seeing something through the eyes of the beast, right? Like outside of this realm entirely. He says, "I see you have a mighty warrior wielding an ancient weapon in your town. Perhaps she will be my new host.
No, I won't let you do that.
And what do you propose to do, young conjurer?
And I think that is where he just like stops and kind of stares. I don't know, but I'll find a way.
And his lordship smiles. He says, "That's the spirit." And Barrow, I want to check in with you. What are you doing to try to revive Gwyn?
I think at this point, Barrow may have just started talking and sort of whispering, "Look, you got to wake up. You have to wake up. It's bad here. You got to get up. What are you? Come on." And just sort of maybe trying to comfort himself as much as wake up Gwyn for. Yeah, I think that's where Barrow's at.
Do you want to roll that as an open up?
Yeah, in that case, let me add a little bit of that, to that. And say, I knew you were like me. I need someone else around who's like me. I'm not gonna tell them. They're not gonna burn us during the holiday. You can't tell on me either, okay? But I need you around because I need somebody else who's like me. And so yeah, that's opening up, and that is with honesty. Who, good old honesty.
Let's see how that goes.
Oh, it's no, yeah, there's no hope there. It's a 6 without any modification, and let's check. I think it does get I think it may be a 5. It's a 5, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So on a miss, you are left awkward and exposed. Say what you do to feel less vulnerable, then mark where. So here, the nice thing is, like, the miss condition is like just about the emotional toll for you. I feel like miss condition is totally compatible with Gwyn wakes up, right? Like the miss condition is still compatible with you help Gwyn, but this is, this goes much more badly for Barrow than you worried about. I mean, I think the where my mind goes is like you like say this and then you like look up and you see your dad's there.
Oh, yes, that's great. That is great.
Okay, great. Say what you do to feel less vulnerable, then mark where.
I think that, yeah, I think there is a lot of stuff going on, and I think Barrow's stress response may be just to start weeping. There's there's a lot of emotions.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think like, your dad Seth is saying, Barrow, what are you saying? And then like as you start weeping, he's like, okay, here, and like puts like a cloak around you and says, we'll talk later. It's all right, right? And like, Gwyn, this is about when you find yourself like pulled back to the land of the living.
Yeah, and I think Gwyn is going to sort of come awake with one of those proper like, almost drowning gasps sort of thing. It is probably going to look a bit bleary-eyed, and I think actually may even like kind of grab on to Barrow as he comes to, and just sort of like clings to him for a moment, just out of. And I think there is that, like, again, even for the cold, there's just that slightly unnatural coldness to Gwyn just for a moment, and I think he sort of buries his head in Barrow's chest for a moment before kind of like pulling himself away again and just saying, sorry, I don't know quite what happened there.
Absolutely. And down by the lake, the beast has been pinned by Ruga's spear, and I think unless anyone tries to stop them, the adults are going to kill it. Right? Like it's immobilized. They've got their pitchforks and their axes, and this thing has proven itself deadly to members of the village already. So. Unless anyone stops it, I think this is the end for this beast. Corin probably chops its head off with his axe, right? All right. Then I think with several of our young people catching their breath and pulling themselves together, this part of the adventure comes to an end. We'll take a little break here. When we come back, we'll pick up back in the village, possibly do a little montage of a couple days passing, and then see where folks go from there. Sound good?
Yep.
All right. Let's take 10 and be back at 9:15. 15 after the hour. Yeah. Cool. Hey, how are folks doing?
Great.
All right. Well, we'll get a chance to catch our breath just a bit after that last sequence. Good. We're all here. So, as I foreshadowed, we're going to go ahead and say that several days pass without huge happenings. We'll do a little. I'll ask a couple questions, do a little montaging that covers some of that time. But one of the upshots of this is that everyone gets to unmark one wear. Yeah. So Ruga, you're back up to just 3. So I actually have a couple questions for Ruga first. Ruga, what how do you convalesce in the in the days after the adventure of the beast?
I think I think it established that Dirid is a little bit superstitious, and the fact that I think she recognized that that Ruga had activated the spear.
She surely did.
And so I think she is being extra like overbearing and mothery, like in the interest of keeping Ruga at home, and so she can, keep an eye on her for a while. That's made easier by the fact that Ruga can't really get away because she, basically all she can do is limp at this point. Before, all she could do is just sort of, roll or literally be dragged. So she's slightly better now, but she's still not in any shape to actually work at the forge or the smithy or anything. So she's just basically been uncharacteristically quiet and resting at home, and is getting more and more frustrated with not being able to actually do anything.
Yeah, more and more frustrating with being asked to like rest a day or two after her close encounter with death at the hands of this wild beast. Speaking of, what trophy has the village taken from the beast and incorporated into the solstice decorations?
Oh, I think that I think it's those teeth. Like the teeth were the most obvious, and I think what they did is they basically have gotten this thing, and they basically have basically cleaned sort of the jaw and skull, like basically boiled everything off, bleached it a little bit, and they're using that as a centerpiece of like the bad stuff that the festival is designed to drive away.
Yeah, absolutely. Have they like painted the teeth red or something to emphasize them?
I think so. They and maybe they've sort of like put some other old designs on there, and maybe it's maybe it's set up on its own little display.
Nice.
So
among the kind of effigies of evil things that will be burned at the celebration. Makes sense to me. Barrow, how are you recovering after this experience?
I think Barrow is in a bit of shock from everything going so pear-shaped. I think they go home with their dad to their mom and dad's house for the first time in quite some while, and it's maybe a few days of periods of being very quiet, and then trying to explain how Barrow messed up and caused all of this mayhem to go on, and almost got that red-haired girl killed. That's what I'm seeing.
Do your parents believe you that it's your fault, or are they telling you no, you're in shock, Barrow? No one could have foreseen what would happen.
I think they don't quite. I think it's a little. It seems a little bit nonsensical to them. Like, you messed up. How could you have planned for this? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think they're fairly dismissive about it.
And what, if anything, do you tell your grandfather, particularly about the perfume that you borrowed back, just, only a day or two ago, but it feels like an age ago.
I am so tempted to let a loved one make a grave mistake by letting him try to pawn off wolf urine as expensive perfume. But yeah, I think maybe Barrow fesses up to that as well. The first time he goes back to his, I guess maybe Grandpa comes to visit. Weird to have the family together again. Yeah.
Is he your maternal grandfather or paternal grandfather?
Oh, let's say maternal.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think your dad just seems a little guarded, a little strained around your grandfather, and you wonder how much, how much did he hear when you were talking to Gwyn, and does he blame your grandfather for leading you down some weird path, right? Let's see. But you do tell him that the perfume's gone.
Yes.
Yeah. He'll kind of nod, gravely, and says, "But you put it to good use."
Yes, in a manner of speaking. It helped. It helped to. Yes, it helped us to escape the monster.
He'll say, "Then we'll just have to make something new together then."
Okay, I'd like that.
Luned, how do you recover from this adventure?
Well, I'm back to only one wear, so I think I don't have any really serious injuries, just like some bruises and scrapes from when I was getting kind of tossed around. But I'm extremely shaken up by nearly, losing one of my friends. And I think I'm also suffering a lot of self-doubt. I still think I was right that Ruga shouldn't have gone down to the water, but I feel very terrible that I wasn't able to persuade her, and she ended up getting, broken ribs and stuff. And
yeah, it's a little hard to admit how close you came to losing her. I'm interested in what kind of the dynamic is in your house, actually, because you snuck away after being semi-grounded, and yet probably the villagers are kind of lauding your bravery by the time they're coming back to the village, since people saw you grab that thing by the tail. So I don't know how do you think your parents react to all of this?
So my mother is furious that I defied her, but she's obviously thrilled that my family is getting some good publicity now, but she's also furious that she's thrilled about this because, she doesn't want me to have, achieved something great by disobeying her.
Absolutely.
So she's very she hasn't punished me, but things are kind of
frosty
and a bit passive aggressive when it's just the family together.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think your mother takes this kind of moment of the family being a little more in the good graces of the village to announce that she's arranged for a delegation from the other town to come and be part of the festival of the longest night. To create good relations between the two villages, and. Yeah. How does Gowan make clear that she's particularly angry that you didn't bring her along for this adventure?
I think this is the first time that she's been frosty with me as well. Normally she gets mad at me and she just yells.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes comes into my room in the middle of the night to yell. But I think she feels that, by not including her, I was treating her as just a little child. So she's mortally offended, and she's being she's for once acting like our mother and being extremely frosty and polite and mature to me.
That's amazing. So frosty relations in the Pendry household.
Yes.
And Gwyn, how do you recover from what's gone on?
Yeah, so I think one of the first things Gwyn does do when he gets back to the village is to find Merrin and pass on the message that Ninian gave him, and I think there's kind of a bit of a that mixture of kind of a bit of relief, catharsis at passing on the message, but also still some guilt that he wasn't actually able to save him or achieve much in the land of the dead. But I think that kind of takes at least part of the weight off of him.
Yeah, and I think Merrin will break down a little bit and be like, Ninian, you big dummy, why didn't you tell me when you were alive? But yeah, go on, Gwyn.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But I think in general, Gwyn, perhaps not that. Maybe not that noticeably, but I think Gwyn draws into himself a bit more even than normal. But I think what what he definitely is doing is in the kind of squirreling himself away, not necessarily at home, but sort of around the village, and he's kind of trying to make some sense out of this half-burned tome that he has.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Examining Conjurer's Manual.
Yep.
We'll
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
So Gwyn passed the message along to Marin. Did he specify that he actually went, in the realm of the dead to get this? And does Marin tell anyone else about this? Like, do other people know he's a conjurer?
Oh, that's fascinating. Do you pass on the message as if you like heard this from Ninian before he died? Like how what's the yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think he will be vague about how he learned it. He'll sort of tell her that Minion
wanted you to know this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like this, and of course, we'll see if any suspicions arise from this. Yeah. But that sounds plausible to me as a suitably ambiguous framing, right?
Yeah.
I guess my only question, Gwyn, is what preparations is your dad making for his inn to suddenly host this delegation from the other town?
Yeah, I think he's making up some just some simple sleeping mats for the floor, because he expects to have quite a few people staying here. Just some nothing more than really some sacking stuff with hay. Gwyn is probably roped into helping out with that. He's getting one of the some of the extra barrels out of storage. Some of the slightly stronger and longer lasting stuff, generally just kind of trying to get things in order.
Absolutely. All right. Well, the Festival of the Long Night is fast approaching, and I want to check in and see what happened. We'll say, given what we've narrated, right? The things your characters have been doing to recover, the things they've been busy with. That when we check in a few days after the adventure of the beast, we're kind of seeing them, for the first time, all four gathered together again. Sound good? Luned, where are you able to meet with your peers?
To clarify, are we at the day of the festival yet or not?
It's the festival's like tomorrow. Like it's like very close. The delegation from the other village is expected any minute.
Okay. I think we might be at Gwyn's house, helping out or ostensibly helping out, and hanging around hoping to get a glimpse of the delegation as they arrive.
Got it. So you're at least allegedly lending a hand as Rodri works on preparing the inn to host these these unusual out of town visitors, right? Like it's even though the villages are not terribly far away from each other, it's pretty unusual for a whole group to go from one to the other. So Rodri has you just cleaning and setting up places for people to sleep and like Gwyn said, you're rolling. He's like, Barrow, help me roll this out, right? As he like pulling this massive cask from the cellar, right? But he goes to take stock of the cellar, take inventory, and you four have a moment of relative privacy. And what do? There's obviously things to discuss, but I'm pretty interested in, who wants to share what they've learned or what they're concerned about. Everyone looked around for a moment, unsure what to say after everything they've been through. Ruga, you haven't been out of your house in a little bit, right? Like you took a lot of convincing for your mother to give you permission to come over here, and she said, don't strain yourself. You just supervise, right? What are you heeding her advice?
I'm heeding her advice as long as there are any adults around. But other than that, like she's doing the things she would normally try to do, but she's not able to do them anywhere near as well or as fast as she was able to do them before she was hurt. So, like instead of just basically hoisting up a barrel and like carrying it on her shoulder or something, maybe she's rolling these smaller kegs, like just rolling them along the ground instead of picking them up and carrying them.
Got it. Very cool.
That sort of
thing. Yeah. Gwyn, we're at your place. This is your home, and your peers are all here for the moment. What do you do? Do you have anything to say? Oh, you're muted.
Muted. I think Gwyn will go over to help Ruga with the kegs, despite the fact that it's almost certainly not wanted. But he'll say, "You should be careful, Ruga. I know you were really badly hurt, and I'm sorry I couldn't do anything to help. But I don't want you making it worse for yourself now."
And I think she will grumble a little. She will grumble a little bit, but also she's like, as this sort of work is progressing, like you can tell, like she's getting stiffer and slower because she's not used to trying to move around this much. So she's like, there was nothing else to be done. It just it happened. And Ruga is like specifically avoiding talking about this with Luned because she would, if they talked about it, she would have to at least backhandedly admit that Luned was right about moving away from all the adults. And so she's like specifically not engaging in that conversation.
Oh, that's great. Gwyn, I wonder if are you angling for open up and offer someone comfort?
Yeah, I'll give that a go.
Do you want to? Yeah, tell me what kind of, if you say anything more, do anything else to make clear that you're trying to offer real comfort to your friend.
And I think he also said, I know you're really good at all this sort of stuff. He'll kind of wave, obviously meaning more the whole fighting monsters thing rather than moving barrels. But and you're the bravest one of us. But you need to take care of yourself as well.
Do you accept an offer of comfort, Ruga?
I think she does, but like most of the time when she accepts anything like this, it's kind of almost grudgingly. Like she's like I think she's letting Gwyn do more than she normally would. Like, and that's just how she's showing that she's taking some of that to heart. Like instead of just basically like, shouldering him out of the way, she's like kind of, letting him roll, letting him push the barrels on, towards the door so they can move them outside, kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. That sounds like accepting it to me. Sorry, Gwyn, you can roll plus honesty.
Cool.
Unless you want to turn to appear before making the roll.
I've already made the roll, so no, that's fine. And I rolled a 12, which gives me an 11 in total. So yeah.
This time the dice are in your favor.
Yeah.
On a 10, so on any hit, there is solace in your closeness. You share strength with one another, and both unmark one wear. On a 10+ hit, ask them, what's one hope, large or small, you have for the future?
Yeah. So yeah, what is one hope that you have for the future, Ruga? And I think actually, like I said, when we've been doing this, and I think that possibly deliberately, actually going back to that sort of the whole not getting any assistance in this. I think maybe this is when Gwyn's as is, it is when they're both like outside and there aren't other people around.
I think. I think one hope for the immediate future for her, and I'm not sure how deep or far out to go, is she's trying to figure out a way to like mend her fences with Luned, but she's too hard-headed to like do the straightforward rational thing and just admit that she screwed up and thank Luned for like keeping the monster from eating her. But she can't. She is incapable of doing that right now.
So you say that or something to that effect to Gwyn about how
right. She sort of mumbles back and forth, and the general sense you get out of her like talking about, and I think probably she refers to Luned as stupid for grabbing the thing's tail, but like you get the impression that it's like an admirable stupid, like that sort of thing. Like it's in the way she's saying it, like. Whereas normally, like her tones and some of this would be like you could tell from the tone that she was being aggressive or criticizing, because she does have that move to call people out,
right,
for things. And you've probably heard her do something like that before, and this is like the inverse of that. This is like her saying things like she's kind of calling something out, but the emotional vibe is exactly the opposite. Like there's admiration and there's a worry and care, as opposed to like hostility and general and frustration.
Nice,
cool,
nice. That's great. Inside the inn, Barrow, Luned, yeah, it's just the two of you there. And Barrow, you might recall there were other visions you had that that touched on Luned's family. Do you share any of that?
Yeah, I think Barrow looks sort of furtively over and says, I think you should know that I saw a yew tree in the ruins, in the old ruins to the
north.
To the north. All right, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's important. I don't know if it's a good idea to go. I thought it was a good idea to go to the lake, and that didn't turn out great. I think it may have something to do with your sister, but I don't know. I think I asked the wrong. I think I messed up and I asked the wrong questions. I got too hurried, and so there's a yew tree in the ruins. north of town. And I have a bad feeling that we are going to go there.
And I can tell that Barrow is feeling pretty nervous and awkward about this, so I kind of put a hand on his shoulder and I say, "Thank you. I've been thinking these past few days, I think we should talk to the people, the delegation coming from the other town, because, well, first I started thinking that maybe it was something that happened to my sister in the other town, something about her leaving, that's why she's not at rest. And you mentioned the yew tree, and Di saw it in her earring, and I know we used to worship the yew tree, but we don't anymore. But maybe the people from that town do, or they remember something more about it."
Maybe. Yeah, maybe we just subtly ask them, hey, about this tree. Yes, I think that's a great idea. Maybe not in front of all of them all at once. That does not seem
Oh, no.
okay.
No.
Okay. I should also tell you, I'm not crazy. I'm not happy with this one. Okay, let me start. I think we kept this from happening. But I saw your sister this out of character. Do we know about the doors? Is that a
Is that like a
is
bit
that a mythology
of lore
for us, or is that something that's outside of, like, completely outside of folks' understanding?
It's out there, right? It's not a thing people know a lot about, right? Because conjuring is dead magic, and there are only like a few hints and rumors of conjurers, but maybe the idea of doors has come through. Yeah, I'm looking at the playtest packet where it says conjuring is a dead magic talked of only in tales. It was about thresholds and doorways. In the tales, conjurers traveled into death, laid spirits to rest, and unlocked strange powers, but also opened gates best kept closed. So we'll say that much is general knowledge.
Okay.
I saw your sister going through a door, but not like a door. I like my the ghost stories about doors that shouldn't be there, but they're there.
Yes.
I saw your sister going through a door, capital D. And I think...
And right at that moment, the physical door of the inn opens wide, and Gwyn kind of marches in, looking, kind of prim as she has done over the past few days. And she says, "Luned, Mother says the delegation is arriving, and you are to put on your new dress and make yourself presentable."
Sorry, I need to consult the play packet for a second.
Absolutely.
Okay. I sort of stare at her open mouth for a second because I'm still absorbing what Barrow said.
And she does her best impression of your mom's eyebrow raise.
Right. And then I say, Yes, of course. Let's go back right now. And I take her by the hand and attempt to start leaving.
She says, I'm already in my nice dress. I'm going to meet the delegation right here.
But I think I need to talk to you about something. If we can talk as we're going back.
Are you trying to trigger a move here?
Well, I'm trying to get her into a spot where I can use empath. But I think I might not have the patience for that. So after kind of stuttering for moments longer, I just burst out. Are you trying to become a conjurer?
Oh man, that's quite a question. I don't even. I'm trying to figure out if this is take someone's measure, or if you're just if this is just an outburst, right? No, go ahead and take someone's measure. I think like no matter what, she's like surprised and taken aback here, but we'll see if you get something out of her with this.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll plus honesty.
Okay. And wow, dice went off the table. Okay, that was a natural 4.
Plus 2 honesty.
Yes.
On a miss, they let slip your interest. They size you up instead. Tell them something private and compromising that you give away. So like for one thing, for one thing, you're kind of like putting your cards on the table here, right? About
right.
Like that you're sort of essentially mystically spying on her. But tell me if there's anything else you think you give away in this. Also, your sister's the one person you can't use this move on, I guess, because I feel like in the first session you also rolled a miss while trying to take her measure, didn't you?
Oops. I think, and sorry, Barrow, I think I'm going to let slip that I've been talking to him about her.
Yeah, that's great.
And, I think Gwyn is doing her best, icy adult impression. And, I'm completely discombobulated. And and she raises her eyebrow, and this is new. She's never been able to raise just one eyebrow before. She's clearly been practicing, in the mirror alone. And I just starting because I've been talking to Barrow, and he saw you. I mean, he had a vision, and that's when I cut off, realizing that I really shouldn't be, spilling Barrow's secrets to a third party. And I give him this sort of apologetic look and then flee before this can go any further.
You're like just out of there, leaving the inn. Yeah. Gwyn stays, and she her attention switches over to you, Barrow. She's like, what did Luned mean about you having a vision?
Oh, it was probably that I told her I saw a grouse on the way over here. And I saw it with my vision. You like birds, right?
It wasn't a magic vision?
Nope, just regular vision with
sounds like you're trying to stand fast.
Sure.
When you stand fast against your fear, or an adult, or a 12-year-old girl who is extraordinarily perceptive and practicing an intimidating eyebrow, roll plus courage.
Sweet. All right. Okay. That is a 9. I think my courage is that my -2?
It's a 0.
It's a 0. Oh, great. That's way better than I'm used to.
All right. On a 7 to 9 hit, you barely hold it together. Choose what you lose. So there's a little list, but if there's something else that is that seems seems significant here, you can go for it.
Let's see here. I'm gonna go for let's say both Barrow's train of thought and maybe their respect as well, as he just talking about birds. Like, yeah, have you? It's got feathers, and it's like sort of a brown with specks bird, and just doesn't know what else to say. I think maybe he just stares at her for a while. And
you're weird.
Yeah. Well, I'd better go.
Yeah, she just stays staring at you and watches you as you go.
Love it.
And then she'll walk imperiously out of the inn. And if Gwyn and Ruga, are you still around?
Yeah, I imagine this is probably we're doing something with stacking up kegs or something.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Mostly Gwyn is moving stuff because I think Ruga has accepted that she needs to sort of pull back a little bit. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Gwyn walks over to Gwyn and says, like, still imperiously, but more in an undertone, I know your magic.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy talk.
My sister said she saw you in the realm of death. You're going to help me get back to her? Or I'll tell the grown-ups.
Okay, I guess I can see what I can do. We can... I might be able to get a message from her.
And Gwyn nods, like, she knew she'd come to the right place. And that might be our cliffhanger for this evening. Let's check though. Did anyone hit another milestone along the way here? Let's see. Oh, Luned, do you think you hit any of these milestones? I'm kind of looking at the last one myself, to be honest.
The misread someone. Yeah, I think I might have managed to do that finally.
This is great. I love I love your sister converging on your mom's persona, as a way to to rebel in a different direction here. Ruga, did you've already hit 2? Are either of your remaining ones things that you think came up in this session?
I thought for a minute I was going to be helpless in the face of my fear, but then we had the magic spear thing happen, and that worked out really well. So I don't think she's really hit another one this time.
All right.
She really didn't plan anything. She did not execute a plan in any way, shape, or form. And she didn't. despite her dumber efforts, she didn't end up helpless in the face of her fear. So she's still got 2 to go.
Fair enough, and it's and it's your call, right? What counts as fate as feeling helpless. So if Ruga's made of sterner stuff and isn't going to feel helpless just because she's been possibly mortally wounded and has a beast on top of her, then then that's your call. Gwyn, any of these milestones?
Yes. So I have absolutely hit face one of the ancient dead.
You did.
Yeah, that one's marked off the list. I think I came close to admit you can't do something and ask for help, but I don't think I quite hit it with the conversation with Ninian. But I definitely think that one's going to happen next time anyway. So that's when I think I need to have a word with Barrow. But yeah, I think probably just that face one of the ancient dead for today.
Yeah, that sounds right. And Barrow, any of these milestones that you want to mark here?
I think I'm gonna mark admit you don't always know best. Got pushed against that a few times last time, and I tried for it today, and I just frankly I want to mark it off so that I stop fixating on it and can look at the other ones.
I think that definitely came up, right? Like your conversation with Luned at the end here, centered on like, did you ask the wrong questions, right? Fantastic. Well, we'll be back next week, same time, same station, for the final session of this series of Tales from the Low Cantrefs. I'm excited to see what more happens to our characters and comes to our town of Sindle. Thank you all for playing, and to anyone who's been watching along with us, thank you for joining in. Hope to see you next time. Till then, stay safe.